This video is brought to you by Sam Bass Music.
You're watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes. I'm Sam Bass. This is Ashley. And today, we're going over R.E.M's Automatic for the People. So R.E.M., what do you think? Do you like this band?
Yeah. I know, the big famous hit, Losing My Religion. I think I heard that for the first time in The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I was just like, what is this song or this band?
And that's actually off this album.
Okay.
So
Out of Time.
Yeah. So basically what happened is they made this album at the beginning of the 90s.
Okay.
They were sick and tired of going on tour, so they actually didn't tour for that album. And they were also sick and tired of playing all of their own instruments that they normally play. So they grabbed like a mandolin and stuff. That's why Losing My Religion sounds like, almost like folk music or something. They were gonna follow this up with a big hard rockin' album, but they wound up going back in the studio and coming up with an even more chill album. I feel like this album is like if you took Losing My Religion and you made a whole album out of that vibe, because this album, like you've heard Shiny Happy People, this album goes all over the place. It doesn't just it's not one note, and this album isn't one note, but it's a lot of the same note, but it's
same vibe.
It's a good note and a good vibe, and that brings me to what were you gonna say?
I wonder if because that song was so successful, they're like, we need to do more of this. And they did a whole album.
I don't think that they're a band that would necessarily do that, but I don't think they're a band that would necessarily not do that. You know what I mean? Okay. They gained a lot of famous fans, and I even heard a rumor that this was the last album that Kurt Cobain ever listened to. Did you hear about this?
Wow, I have not. You gotta tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, the urban legend...
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the urban legend is that they found it in his house, in his CD player.
Oh my gosh.
After he had passed away. So obviously there's no way to prove it, but I do know that Anton Corbijn, he did the cover photography, and this was 1992. Whenever Nirvana came out with their music video in 1993, they used Anton Corbijn for Heart-Shaped Box. So he definitely was an obvious influence on the man. What do you guys think? Get down in the comments section. Let me know. Do you think this was the last album Kurt Cobain listened to? I mean, should we even be asking that question? Do you know the answer? Were you there? Were you his housekeeper?
Yeah. If you were the housekeeper, please comment down below. Because I know you're just looking around on YouTube watching videos of Kurt.
So the album starts out with a song called Drive. I mean, everybody's heard that song, probably. If you grew up in the 90s and you heard the radio, you heard that song. And then obviously...
If you heard the radio.
Yeah, if you heard the radio, you heard that. Some people hear the radio, but they don't even listen. Yeah. So, we get down through the track list, and Everybody Hurts. Have you heard that song? It's one that's like, everybody hurts.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes.
Wow.
When the day is long.
Wow.
And the night has just begun. Everybody hurts.
I'm gonna blow your microphone.
Ooh, I'm gonna do the Post Malone. Everybody hurts sometimes. Post Malone.
Good job. That was a good impersonation.
Bottom line is, this album is a masterpiece. It's basically, it's like a holy album, kind of like, I said Deftones' White Pony or the Mad Season album. Just one of those albums that you can't really put your finger on it, but it takes you somewhere. Oh, and it also has Man on the Moon. If you believe, they put a man on the moon.
They have a vibe.
This has a vibe, and you know what else has a vibe? My streaming music. Check it out. Here's the QR code. Just go. Just don't question it. Just go.
Just scan and go.
Scan and jam, baby.
Scan and jam.
It. You gotta scan it before you jam it. You know what I mean?
Hey, I like that.
Automatic for the People. What's up with that title? This title came from a restaurant called Weaver D's that's in Athens, Georgia. And the band would go eat there, apparently, and they liked the slogan. Their slogan is Automatic for the People.
Weaver D's, huh? What a weird name.
Yeah, I think the guy's name is D. Weaver, so they just called it Weaver D's.
Okay.
And they make like fried chicken, soul food, and stuff.
Okay.
And Michael Stipe apparently really liked not only the food, but he liked their slogan. Mm-hmm. In fact, this episode's sponsored by Weaver D's, Athens, Georgia. Yeah, we are in no way affiliated with Weaver D's or their associated brand of peanuts and cashews, Weaver D's Nuts. We're not affiliated. They followed up this album with the Rockin' Monster, which is actually my favorite R.E.M. album. And they knew they needed a tour, so they wanted to make a more rockin' album, and they came out with Monster in 1994. This one has What's the Frequency, Kenneth, Crush with Eyeliner. It's got it's got a song called Let Me In, which is actually a tribute to Kurt Cobain. Yeah, it was, and when you listen to it, if you know that whole story, you can totally feel it. Like, it gets you right there.
Didn't the lead singer of this band invite Kurt to come spend some time with him and like do some creative projects?
Very good.
And he unfortunately didn't take up the offer.
Yeah, that's very true. Wow.
So that shows how close they were. Like, they actually had a relationship and
yeah, apparently
could have made something together.
They were gonna work on something, and Kurt wanted his next album, Nirvana's next album, to be like Automatic for the People. From what I heard.
Oh wow.
Michael Stipe sent him a ticket. He's like, "Come fly out." That must be the story.
I think he knew he was in a good place.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to, like, try and help him out.
It's a tragedy.
But I think maybe offering a job was not the best thing to do. It should have been made more like, hey, just come hang out with me. Like,
well,
I love you, brother.
Whatever the case, it was probably just a disguised invitation to just hang out. I'm sure. Knowing Michael Stipe. Michael Stipe is a really good guy. I can just tell. Now, that being said, well, I don't need to say that being said. That being said, he's a piece of shit. No. So they come out with this album, Rockin' album, and then they follow it up with, some would say, their most underrated album. And some people don't even like it. New Adventures in Hi-Fi. And this album to me is the most awesome hidden gem that I have found during this whole Rockology project. The first song is kind of misleading. And the rest, it doesn't really rock, but it's kind of cool. And then it's really cool. And then the rest of the album totally rocks harder than anything that from what I can tell, anything they did. So it's got, remember that song on there that sounds like an alarm's going off? And you really liked it.
Oh, it's my favorite. Love it.
Yeah, it's called Leave. That song brought me to tears. It really did, because it was that emotional.
Oh, I didn't know it was emotional.
Yeah, I mean, I get, I fall asleep listening to hard rock. I get emotional when people are rocking that hard, So, and Losing My Religion, that song always gets to me. As a 90s kid, it totally takes me back to being a kid. To me, when I was a kid, when I heard that Losing My Religion, that's what a sad grown-up sounding song sounds like. You know what I mean? That's what and then when I grew up and I was a sad grown-up, I was like, oh, I was right. Get in the comments. I want to know what you think. Was I right, wrong, asking this question, not asking that question? What's going on here? You decide. Most
importantly, hit that bell notification so that next time we upload a video, you get a notification.
You've been watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes. I'm Sam Bass. This is Ashley. Be sure to like and subscribe.